What's going on, guys? Luke here of SimBoxx, and this is my breakdown and prediction for Eubank Jr versus Conor Ben. It headlines the Matchroom and Wasserman card live on DAZN PPV, Saturday, October 8th. Eubank Jr versus Conor Ben. This is a much anticipated fight. It's got a fantastic backstory, one-of-a-kind backstory. We're never going to see anything like this again, and I dare say we've never seen anything like this before. Eubank Sr and Nigel Benn, Conor Benn's father, they shared the ring on two occasions in the early 90s, two of the greatest fights in British boxing history, and arguably the greatest rivalry in all of British boxing. Their two names have been forever synonymous with each other, and the fact that their sons are getting in the ring on October 8th seems like something out of the realms of fantasy, but it's going down. It's a £157 catch weight, with Eubank coming down from his usual £160 middleweight division, and Conor Ben going up from welterweight at £147. And of course, there is a rehydration clause in there as well. So that is maybe the most interesting aspect to this fight, given that we've not seen Eubank Jr make this weight as a professional, and we've not seen Conor Ben move up that high in weight this far in his career. In one corner, we've got Eubank Jr. He's got a record of 32-2 with 23 knockouts. In his most recent fight, he was dominant, dropping Liam Williams multiple times en route to a points victory. Whereas Conor Ben, he's 8 years younger than Eubank Jr. He's got a record of 21-0. He's undefeated, and he's got 14 knockouts on his record. His most recent victories coming over Chris Van Heerden and Chris Algieri, both fights by way of knockout. And I think the interesting dynamic, as I've mentioned, is going to be this weight differential and how easy Eubank, we can say it's easy, will make the £157. We've seen his antics on social media. It's had us all hooked that he's been out eating donuts and birthday cake, and there was a couple of shows where he was carrying around a bucket of KFC. So he seems to think that he's going to make this weight easy. He's not had a nutritionist on board. He said that he's doing this all from memory of making weight previous for himself. Whereas Conor Ben, he'll be coming up in weight. He's been sparring with the likes of Felix Cash down at Tony Sims' gym. So he says he's used to training and sparring with bigger, heavier guys. So that is, for me, where this fight, it's easy to say, is won and lost, is that weight differential. Who can manage it better? In terms of their in-ring ability, they're a great clash of styles. I think no matter which way this goes, it's going to be a fantastic fight. Conor Ben, thus far in his career, though, although he's taken up a massive step in class to take on Eubank, he's got a fantastic style, that front foot, come forward pressure. He's the father's son. Although not as good as Nigel Benn, he's definitely in the mould of his father. He likes to throw a lot of punches. He's very aggressive, and I think he's going to have to channel that aggression in this fight, because opposite him, in Eubank Jr, he can play the villain. He can play on those emotions. We've seen it already in the face-off. We've seen it already in the press conference, and we've seen it with his social media antics. Eubank, at 33, we kind of know what we're going to get from him. He likes to punch a lot. He's got a granite chin. He's got a high work rate. His footwork's not that good. You see the link up with Roy Jones. He tried adding a couple of different strings to his bow, and that caught us seeing him get caught in two different styles. He didn't really know his identity in the fights with Marcus Morrison, for instance, where maybe the old Eubank would have went for the knockout, and he kind of took his foot off the pedal a little bit and allowed Marcus back into that fight, and it went the distance. Although Chris did win comfortably, as he did against Liam Williams. He dropped Liam Williams multiple times with some fantastic jabs, some really eye-catching shots, but he never really put his foot to the floor and looked for the stoppage in either of those two fights. I don't think he'll be able to take that kind of luxury with somebody like Conor Ben, who is ferocious, is full of confidence. At 25, he's got that youthful exuberance, and I think Eubank is going to have to sting and hurt Conor Ben early and kind of put him on the back foot and make him think twice about coming forward and trying to be the bully in there against a bigger man. So I think those early rounds, that first round in particular, is going to be ever so important. The style of the fight needs to be implemented by either guy in that first round, and then we can see the true pattern of where this fight will go. Of course, we've got to get past the weigh-in on Friday first, this £157 catch weight. I think there's a £158 limit on the scales, and then maybe the fight could be thrown out. Don't quote me exactly on that, but I know it's somewhere around that. And then, of course, we've got the rehydration clause, which is rumoured to be around £5, maybe £10. It's less than the IBF limit. So that, again, is going to deplete Eubank even further. And this leads me on to my prediction. we know this is all smoke and mirrors, if you like, from Chris Eubank with the dieting, and we know he trains ridiculously hard. He's got a fantastic physique, and as I say, his style is high output, high intensity. But this whole 60%, that he only needs to be at 60% to beat somebody like Conor Ben, I think he's going to be his downfall. I think he is underestimating Conor Ben. He said it himself that he's underestimating Conor Ben. And at 33, I think he's looking for the big fights, the cash-out fights. Early in his career, he's never took the likes of Charlo or Golovkin or Andrade on when the opportunities maybe were knocking for him. And I think he's looking at this as a big cash-out. He says if he loses, he will retire. And in Conor Ben, at 25, he's got his whole career in front of him. He's taken a massive step up in class. But I'm siding with the underdog here. With the bookies, Conor Ben is the underdog, given that he's the smaller man, naturally smaller man. But I think his intensity, his hunger, his desire, as long as he channels that in the correct way and that he doesn't go reckless, will win him this fight. I think he will take Chris Eubank to a place in the fight that Chris Eubank wouldn't have expected. I do think he underestimates Conor Ben to that extent. I see Conor Ben landing big in the middle rounds, and we know Chris Eubank's got a granite chin, and I don't think he'll be knocked out flat on his back, but I think there's going to be an onslaught of punches from Conor Ben after a topsy-turvy opening. I think Conor Ben's drive, his determination, will see him come on top around round 7 or 8, and it will be a ref stoppage in round 8 due to an accumulation of punches from Conor Ben on Chris Eubank, and the referee will wave the fight off. Guys, as always, I could be wrong, I could be right. Let me know in those comments below how you see this fight playing out. Will it be Conor Ben? Will he get the family bragging rights for the Ben name? Will it be Chris Eubank? Will he be able to forever put that Chris Eubank name above the Ben name in the history books? Let me know in those comments below how you see this fight going. Check SimBoxx out across social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, please hit that subscribe button for more prediction videos on the way.